back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, the Chicago Bulls came off of a second night of a back-to-back, just like the Philadelphia 76ers, and the Chicago Bulls ended up losing 2 straight games in a row. Very, very disappointing display for the Chicago Bulls today. Ultimately, a very frustrating game overall, so we'll get stuck into all of that in this video. But I guess the most important thing to take away from this game is that the Joel Embiid curse still exists for the Chicago Bulls as he ices the game and we walk away with yet again another loss against Philadelphia. Before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls game today. Who was your player of the game, your overall thoughts and opinions on how the game went, as it was a very frustrating watch, I think, for both sides in all honesty, but especially for the Chicago Bulls as we lose this game 114-109. And look, this is the type of game where I feel like I know what's going to happen in the comment section. I kind of know what people are thinking. At the end of the day, it is a very frustrating watch for a variety of reasons. The Joel Embiid curse still exists. At the end of the day, he iced the game. He made a 3-point shot that ultimately won the game. We could talk about all the foul calls that the refs may have missed on the Bulls side. We could talk about how, I guess, some of the Philadelphia 76ers players kind of baited them into foul calls as well at the end of the game. And that is definitely a big topic of discussion. We'll get into that later. But at the end of the day, we left Joel Embiid open for a 3-point shot to end the game. What did you expect was going to happen in that instance? Of course, Joel Embiid is going to end the game like that. He's an MVP caliber player for a reason. He is a superstar in this league. You cannot leave your superstar players wide open for a 3-point shot. They will make it more times than not. But the Bulls had opportunities to win this game. And unfortunately, the stagnation part of our offense is extremely key to how we lost the game. Our defense, at the end of the day, it was up and it was down the whole night. There were some moments where our defense looks absolutely amazing. No other moments in the game where our defense looked shockingly bad, leaving 3-point shooters open constantly on a regular basis. Obviously, the foul calls as well. Everything of that nature was extremely frustrating, but it shows the inconsistency in the Bulls' performances. But again, we had the chances. Zach LaVine had chances to win this game. Vucevic had chances. Caruso obviously had the big chance. DeMar DeRozan driving to the basket had a chance to make this game closer and maybe be a little bit more competitive. And again, those chances were not taken, and some of those chances were taken away from us. So I do feel that frustration. I feel the frustration most Bulls fans feel, but at the end of the day, you can't leave Joel Embiid open for 3. Doesn't matter how bad or good of a shooter he is on that consecutive season. A superstar player open for 3, he's going to make that more times than not. That's what big players are there to do, and Joel Embiid did that. So I am frustrated, of course, but that situation just simply cannot happen. And again, we walked away with the loss because of it. So let's get into the foul calls, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into the ref situation, because I honestly feel like in this type of situation, the reason why it's so frustrating is because basically the referees kind of dictated the game, how the game played, how the result ended up occurring, because their constant foul calls that they gave, some of them deserved, some of them not deserved, but ultimately it's them controlling how the game is gone, not how the players are controlling the game. When you see Joel Embiid flop when it comes to a late game situation and he gets the foul call, it's frustrating. Even the situation before that when Joel Embiid was called a foul on Nikola Vucevic, those things, in my opinion, especially towards the end of the game, either you make it consistent or you don't call them at all. And it was not consistent from both sides. DeMar DeRozan's drive to the basket is a foul. It is. He ran into DeMar DeRozan. Yes, he's vertical. His hands are straight up, but he's pushing into DeMar DeRozan, and DeMar DeRozan is entering his space. It is a foul on Joel Embiid's side. That should be 2 free throws, and obviously we probably still would have lost the game, but it's definitely a moment in the game that definitely got impacted. And again, I just don't feel like the calls were consistent. Obviously, James Harden baiting foul calls as well. He's done this his whole career, and somehow he still manages to get away with it. He's had, what, I think it was 9 free throws in this game, made all 9 of them. I think James Harden was awful in today's game, in all honesty. I think outside of his free throws, he did relatively close to nothing in terms of scoring ability. But that's what James Harden does, and it still manages to be a big problem for the NBA and everything of that nature. And again, I'm not going to go too much more into it. That's personally how I feel. I think the referee calls were inconsistent, and I think they ended up controlling the result of the game, which should never be a talking point. You can talk about referees having a bad night, and it can happen, and it happened in today's game. But when you're talking about them controlling how the result occurs, that's something I don't like, and it's something that I don't think is acceptable. And I know we're probably going to see a 2-minute report, 3-minute game report at the end of the game saying DeMar DeRozan should have got fouled, he should have had 2 free throws, everything like that. The Joel Embiid call should have been a no call, whatever it is. And it's going to make a lot of people feel better, but at the end of the day, a loss is a loss. And I'm not blaming the loss just on the refs. I am blaming the loss on the Bulls and their defense towards the end of the game and their offensive stagnation in the game as well. Pretty much all Philadelphia had to do in this game to take control in the fourth quarter. Every time there was a pick and roll, DeMar DeRozan double teamed. He was forced to pass out to somebody else and force somebody else to make offense. And unfortunately, whether it's Zach LaVine, Nikola Vucevic, Alex Caruso, Patrick Williams, whoever the ball went to, very few people actually took initiative and wanted to create some offense in the game. We relied too much on DeMar DeRozan, and as soon as that area was shut off, no one else really wanted to create that much. We had to try and bail ourselves out with either a bad shot or try to get a foul call. And at the end of the day, our offense needs to be better than that. We need to just be better. Double team DeMar, pass it out to LaVine. All of a sudden, we've got no more offense left. Zach LaVine takes a bad shot. Zach LaVine takes a good shot and misses. But at the end of the day, that situation needs to be better. We need to be better when teams come into a zone or where teams want to double team DeMar DeRozan from a pick and roll. So DeMar got none of his offense in the fourth quarter, but other guys could not make it any better or make more of an impact. And that's what needs to happen. I remember this exact same thing 2 years ago. Zach LaVine it's the exact same. When Zach LaVine came off a pick and roll, Zach LaVine was double teamed. He has to pass out to somebody else. And again, on that certain team, no one created offense. And that's why we lost a lot of games. I felt very similar in this type of game as well. So yeah, very disappointing performance overall, and we need to do better offensively. We of course need to do better defensively. Obviously, it doesn't help having your backup center not play in this game and Andre Drummond. Obviously, it doesn't help that Ayo Dosunmu also missed the game, but we had the chances to win. I'm not putting any of the blame on those two guys for not playing. This team had chances to win. We were very competitive from the, second quarter, late second quarter, all the way to the fourth. We were competitive in the game. Once again, very bad start to the game as well. I almost forgot about it, but I'm going to bring it to your attention here. Another bad start to a game against a good quality side. I know Philadelphia are 3-4, just like the Chicago Bulls now as well, but they're a good team, and you can't take them for granted just because they're having a bad start. You got to have good starts to games. Another very bad start. I think the highest Philadelphia scored in this game, their lead was 19 points. That was the exact same as Boston. What are we doing wrong in the starting lineup? What are we doing wrong in the first and second quarters of these games to the point where we have to fight back? This team is not called the inconsistent Bulls anymore. It's the comeback Bulls, because that's all we're doing in these games. We're trying to come back from deficits, and we do that successfully, but we work so hard to come back that we just can't seem to get enough in the fourth to actually walk away with wins. I'd love to enter the fourth quarter with a 10-point lead every now and then. It just doesn't seem to be the case for this team, and we have to start figuring out these issues. And I hope with the next couple of days that we do have off, we find those areas of solution, because our schedule doesn't get any easier. We have to keep on fighting. We need to start, learning from our mistakes as well. And this is definitely a problem that's been going on all season long. It's not a good sight to see. So a very bad start to the first half, the first quarter once again. Definitely something we've got to keep our eyes on in the future. But yeah, disappointing loss. Obviously, the heartbreak of knowing that you could have won the game again, very similar to the Spurs, except I found this one very much more frustrating because I think obviously the refs made it more frustrating. In all honesty, that's how I feel. And we just got to move on to the next one. I know everyone's going to vent. Feel free to vent in the comments below. No one's going to judge you for it. If you have something to say, feel free to say it. Obviously, in a respectful way. Don't just be saying, I hope everybody gets injured. That's definitely not something we want to hear. But yeah, I can understand if people want to vent out their frustrations. And of course, look, this is the type of team that we're going to have to be dealing with for 4 games or 3 games this season against Philadelphia. We're going to have to learn how to overcome the refs baiting fouls, Joel Embiid flopping, James Harden flopping. We're going to have to deal with all these situations. We can't just say that's all they do and that's why they win. We need to learn to overcome it. We can't keep losing to these type of teams. And I eventually want this Joel Embiid curse to be over and done with. So I hope this season's the year. But it's not the first game that we verse Philadelphia, so we'll see how things go in the next time out. The must improve for me, look, it's a tough choice. I think I'm probably going, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I thought our bench, I thought everything kind of just, I feel so frustrated. I can't think straight. I honestly don't know who I give the must improve to here. I'm looking at the statistics and I think Goran Dragic is the one to look out for. So maybe I'll pick him. 1 from 6 from the field, 0 from 2 from the 3-point line. I personally actually thought Goran Dragic should have finished the game, in all honesty. Yes, he didn't have his greatest game. He missed a lot of easy layups and stuff like that. But in the fourth quarter, we needed offense. We needed someone to run the offense as well. We needed some easy shots. We needed someone to dictate the play. And we didn't have a starting point guard in the final stretches of the game. Alex Caruso was our point guard. And as good as Alex Caruso is, he's not a true point guard in this league. So, yes, I can understand Alex Caruso ending the game for his defensive purposes, 100%. Maybe you could have found a situation where maybe you rest Pat and you pull Goran in there for both. But ideally, it's done now. It is what it is. We move on. I think Patrick Williams did okay in the game as well. I'm not disrespecting any of them. I'm just saying maybe the rotation could have been a little bit different to help us on the offensive side of things, but it is what it is. The player of the game, I'm going to give it to Nikola Vucevic. I just am. 23 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal. Yes, Joel Embiid, the final shot of the game. I think that's the miscommunication with Alex Caruso and Nikola Vucevic that led to an open 3. I also think the help defense from DeMar was very poor on that instance as well. And yes, he won the game for us. Or he won the game for Philly, I should say. So yes, very, very disappointing performance on that play alone. But without Vucevic's 3-point shots to save this team, we probably would have been blown out anyway. So he really helped us fight back in this game. And again, we fought all the way back in the second quarter because we got Joel Embiid to 3 fouls. He had to sit on the bench. And that's when our comeback began. But for us to stay in the game, we needed Vucevic to be the player that he was today. We needed him to shoot 5 from 6 or whatever it was from the 3-point line. We needed him to get to the free throw line. We needed him to shoot the mid-ranges. And he did exactly that. So I would pick him personally for player of the game. Yes, of course, his counterpart did have the ending moment of the game in Joel Embiid, but I thought Vucevic really did well to keep us in the game. And I think that's the first game I've really seen Nikola Vucevic play well against Joel Embiid. Unfortunately, I don't think that performance is sustainable because a lot of it was from the 3-point line, and he did get hot from there. But again, we got to move on to the next one now, ladies and gentlemen. The Bulls' record is 3-4. Back to a negative record. I don't think we ever actually were a negative record, but we are on a negative record now, and we've got to fight our way out of this. Again, no one is going to do it for us. Our inconsistent play is all on ourselves. We can't just, constantly blame everybody else for our problems. We can blame the refs all that we want, but deep down, I think most of us can agree that if that 3-point shot was not there, we probably would be talking about an overtime performance right now at best, and maybe we could have won the game. But we let a bad possession happen. That's why we lost. Yes, the refs dictated the play, that dictated the result, but we left an open player at the 3-point line at the end of the game. That is simply something that is unacceptable. It cannot happen, and that is why we lost the game. But our next game, we've got another back-to-back, by the way. We've got a couple of days break, so hopefully the Bulls can use this, break to energize. Hopefully we can get Io and Andre Drummond back in the lineup for these 2 games. But our next game is going to be against the Brooklyn Nets. Brooklyn Nets are also having a bad moment in their season at the moment right now, but they're another team we can't take lightly. I think they're 1-5 in terms of their overall record, but at the same time, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, I think they have very solid 3-point shooters in Joe Harris as well. And they're going to have, in my opinion, a point to prove. They're not going to keep on being bad. Same with Philly. They're not going to keep on being bad the rest of the year. It's going to start somewhere. And I think teams want to verse the Chicago Bulls now, in all honesty, because we start the game so badly and our 3-point, we allow them to make threes. And that's how a lot of teams get confident against us, because we let them shoot threes at the beginning of the game. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the game and in the middle of the game, the 3-point shot starts to fall. So we've got to do better in that instance as well. But yes, I think Brooklyn are going to want to verse the Chicago Bulls, and I'm pretty sure the Bulls are going to want to verse the Brooklyn Nets as well, because they're at a very difficult moment in terms of their NBA career right now, their NBA season. So it's a big game, and this is a must-win game as well. We can't be falling down to minus 500 records, especially very early on. I know our schedule is very hard right now. It's very, I guess, compact. It's back-to-back focus and everything like that, and we're traveling west and east very, very crazy, heavily right now, but we've got to find a way to win this type of game. Can we do it? I really hope so, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, we'll wait and see what we can do in the next one. This loss will be frustrating. I know I still feel it. I know a lot of people will feel it as well. But hopefully in a couple of days' time, the Bulls can find a way to make us all happy again. We'll wait and see. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. Have a wonderful and safe day, Bulls Nation. I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care and peace.